Koutou, ngā mihi nui kia koutou. It's with the knowledge and respect that I accept this invitation to submit, knowing that not everyone has this opportunity. I acknowledge the connections that we have amongst each other as well, the electorates that you serve in, some of them in which I have whakapapa to, and other areas that you whakapapa to. For example, Mr. Chair, as a Taranaki descendant, I acknowledge your ancestors and their looking after and protecting my ancestors in the 1860s when they were incarcerated without trial for a number of years throughout the South Island. I acknowledge you all. There are three areas that I would like to share to discuss today. One area is about education. One is about having tools, appropriate tools to have fair and careful conversations in a respectful way. And the third is looking at tātou, the word tātou, and I'll explain that a little bit later. I'm working from one screen, whānau, so apologies if you're waving your hands. I won't see you for the next couple of...
We'll call out if we need anything. No, you're fine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our education system is an education system that some of us have done well in, and I am one of those people who have done well in education. But there are some things that our education system has not done so well for all of us. For the most part, it has not enabled New Zealanders to have a sufficient understanding of te tiriti o Waitangi and to have a discussion safely. I've spent the best part of 25 years educating and facilitating New Zealanders in areas of social enablement design, evaluating programs for their effectiveness in serving Māori and non-Māori needs and aspirations. Having informed information from a recognised authority is important so that misinformation and disinformation can be mitigated. But what do we do when misinformation is sanctioned by the government? And I deeply oppose this bill. I oppose the principles that are included in its clauses, but I don't oppose the ability to have these conversations if the setting and the context enables everyone to feel safe. I believe that having everyone at a table enables us to design for equitable future nationhood. But when the table can't fit us all around, what tools do we have to ensure that all people can be considered? We developed a tool called the Māori Crown Co-Design Continuum as part of some work commissioned by Te Kahui Raunga, whom submitted this morning, and I acknowledge our matua Hinerangi Gage and also Kiri Kowhai Mihaere. They asked us to facilitate a process, and as part of that, and some very well-considered commissioning, they asked us to review our own process and provide examples and recommendations on how things could be done better in the future. We found that talking past one another was one of the biggest challenges in co-design, and our report has been published openly, so I'm able to share this information. Not having a shared vocabulary and understandings can cause us not to progress or have honest and mana-enhancing conversations. We created the continuum to help people navigate ways of working together and to understand where their approaches are on the scale of fully mana motuhake Māori, mana orite, somewhere in the middle, where of equal authority is recognised, and exclusively Crown. This bill and the process which has got us to today is deeply at the end of the continuum, which is exclusively Crown. Mana orite is a label that has been used in recent times to express equal authority. Mana orite is not tino rangatiratanga or full and exclusive rights. It's not the utopia that many Māori like myself aspire to, but it is a framing to find ways that we can move forward in Aotearoa in a partnership. Key concepts of equal explanatory power is a foundation. And thinking of our last submitted John, who mentioned rheumatic fever and health conditions, a research project that came out of the Pōmari Research Centre in 2002 talked about the importance of having equal explanatory power and enabling sample groups to be equally Māori and non-Māori to actually understand the issues that were confronting us to find solutions. So I acknowledge the last submitter. No matter the number of people though, the systems, the worldviews and the philosophies of both parties have equal value, space and support. It's not easy to facilitate people of diverse backgrounds, beliefs and values. It's even harder if those people don't have the basic facts and understanding of what got us to where we are today as a country. It's easy to see programs and identities that differ from those of our childhood and ask ourselves, why fix something that's not broken? The thing is, a lot of our systems and decisions are based on confiscation, injustice and privilege. And they're not remedied by tiriti settlement. For example, legislation now tells us that taranaki maunga is legally called taranaki. But what about those who never see it as anything but Egmont? There needs to be education. And it's not the responsibility of Māori to educate all New Zealanders about trouble, histories or injustice, but someone has to. So if the Kawanatanga, the New Zealand government, has delegated authority, bearing in mind its responsibilities in Article 1 and Article 3 of Te Tiriti, the Māori version, then it's time to ensure that those people who write policy and legislation truly understand Te Tiriti and don't shy away from it. As Angeline Greensill said this morning, the writers need a Tiriti 101. Māori voices at the table is important. In fact, the impact of this bill has meant that people are shying away from the systems and structures that make them accused of building Māori privilege. And Māori privilege is an interesting theory, but in my experiences, there is no privilege except for whakapapa and responsibilities that intergenerationally we recognise and we remember. I think about Pacific people, I think about women, tangata whaikaha, men, our young people, our old people, LGBTQ communities. How do we have all of those voices at the table? In conclusion, the word tātou means all of us. Koe, au, tāua, you and me, tātou, plural of multiple people. And if we can recognise the grace that concessive governments have had and it been afforded, it has been on the grace that Māori have also enabled, that them to be in place. So, e te whānau, we need to ensure that we build grace in our society, and activity responsibilities are not redefined in an exclusively Crown process, and building that constitutional transformational conversation in a way that enhances everyone's mana. Kia ora tātou.
Kia ora, Hinerangi. Thank you for that submission. We've got time for questions. We'll take the first one from Huhana Linden.
Tēnā koe te tuakana Hinerangi, e rongo ana koe iai?
Ai.
E mihi atu ana kia koe, kei konei ahau ki ngā motu mō te matatini. Nō reira, e mihi anō ki ngā iwi o Taranaki Maunga. Hinerangi, thank you very much for your submission. I wanted to explore with you the space of both, as tangata whenua, we are an iwi manaki, so we are patient and we are gracious and we try to look after visitors. But then how do we bring together that conversation around the mahi tahi space or the mahi ngātahi? We're currently in a sort of polarised space, but what are your recommendations in terms of how we can do some, unifying or working together, recognising the uniqueness of our communities, of our perspectives, and even our political leanings? But where is that sweet spot, do you think?
Well, I think the sweet spot is modelling it as individuals first and foremost in our homes with our children, but also in the professional spaces that we exist. So I implore you, all of you ministers and members of Parliament working together, those of you who are on this panel, work together in a constructive way. And when we can do that, then we can model it out. But you do need tools and we do need systems and we need community uplifting and engaging. This is not about consultants making a heck of a lot of money, but it is requiring of us to have people who can facilitate these processes. And also looking at the influence that you have with your networks. How do we stop the energy of fear and misinformation about Māori? Actually, we are gracious people and we're here, and we won't leave. We are tangata whenua. Kia ora tātou.
Thanks, Hinerangi. That's the time for our session this afternoon. So just on behalf of the committee, I want to acknowledge you for taking the time to be with us and to present your oral submission. We do thank you.
Thank you.
Another interesting submission that's more, what to call it, opposing the bill, but more positive.
Right. He said, "No, tahua tira, the kōrero was really beautiful. I love the way that she was embodying working together. Like even at the start when she was talking to James Meager and was saying, hey, look, I recognize your ancestors and, I want that to be known. And so I think this is the hard thing is for Māori is kind of also working out the approach and how we stand, because a lot of people are rightly very angry and want that known. And then there's the folks who are actually saying, we need to be able to model a way to be able to work together. And I felt like this is exactly what Hinerangi was saying. And it was beautiful. It was really stunning and makes you stop and think and say to yourself, oh, yeah, like what would it look like to work together? We have done that at times. What would it look like to do that again? Whilst not sacrificing her point too, right? At the very start, she said, that this government is sanctioning misinformation. She was very clear that the government is spreading misinformation about Te Tiriti, and that needs to be corrected. So it was bringing that spirit of generosity and also the truth of what is going on.
Yeah. Oh, let's get on to it.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, News Guide, the Order Paper Podcast. YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok.